Creativity changes the everyday. Creativity is beautiful. Creativity is active. Creativity is freedom. Alpha NEX5 debut.
Sony.
Well, Grant Hunt, here we are on another day at Australian Tourism Exchange, and you've been in this industry for eons. I mean, you're still looking pretty young, though, I must say, you know, not too bad at all. And you're managing director and owner of Anthology. Now, Anthology, I know, owns 2 properties in Australia. Why don't you tell me a bit about both properties and what you're doing at them?
Okay, well, Wildman Wilderness Lodge is in the top end of the Northern Territory, in the Mary River National Park. Our aspirations for Wildman is to create Australia's quintessential wetland safari lodge.
Oh, wow.
So one of the closest Australian experiences you can have to what they do in Africa with wildlife. Instead of the big game, we've got crocs and bird life and all of those
Fantastic.
sort of indigenous Australian animals and birds. 25 rooms, 10 air-conditioned cabins, along with 15 72 square metre safari tents, and a magic central facility with swimming pool, restaurant, bar, all those sort of things. Of course, the DNA of the place is around touring. It's what you do when you're not in your room or in your lodge. It's what you do on the water and on overland safaris and four-wheel drive vehicles, quad bike tours, 2 or 3 different varieties of wetland on water tours, and of course it's spectacular when you get in the air in a helicopter.
Absolutely. Sounds wonderful.
Yeah, it is. We're very proud of it. Very proud of it. Only in our 2nd season, so a long way to go, but we've got big hopes and dreams for the place.
What sort of people are coming to stay?
Look, your quintessential Australian experience seeker, basically, and a lot of overseas people. So our traditional markets of the US, Germany, Italy, UK, France are loving it. The Italians are very funny. They just like to sit on their decks and watch the kangaroos prance around in the grasslands.
With a glass of red wine,
perhaps. So it's hard to get them off their decks in the late afternoon to come to dinner because we have an unbelievable array of wallabies and white cockatoos and things that feast on the grasslands in front of the lodge.
Brilliant.
So, it's a very special place.
And what about the food that you offer?
We offer fantastic food, of course. In fact, we're in Perth for ATE, and our new executive chef this season is a Perth local, and he's been the exec chef at one of the key restaurants here in Perth, so he's doing fantastic stuff with local cuisine up there. We've got Aboriginal guides, local guides that go out and they'll pick the indigenous plants and water lilies and things, watercress and
they
stuff
use those to cook?
using in the cooking. So
amazing.
Very, very authentic and indigenous product we're serving.
And how'd you get there?
You fly Darwin, of course, and it's only an hour and a half.
Okay, so it's a drive,
It's accessible wilderness. It's an hour and a half on the Arnhem Highway, which links Kakadu with Darwin, and we're about 30 k's off the highway.
Brilliant. Because some of the sort of remote, if you like, lodge type places, they're very difficult to get to, and I think that puts a lot of people off, because they don't want to fly in a little single-engine plane and the risk of all that and so on. So you're very accessible, which is excellent.
We are. We have a relationship with Kakadu Air, with Bob McDonald at Kakadu Air. And he flies the caravans in a very, very safe plane.
Oh, beautiful
so we have helicopter transfers, but generally people will come by vehicle, and we provide that as a transfer service, or they self-drive, and then they'll go on and do Kakadu and the other parts at the top end as well as well.
Well, if there's any part of Australia that's really well known, is Wilpena Pound, and I know you're in that area as well, so tell me a bit about the property at Wilpena.
Well, look, the Flinders Ranges, I think, is one of the most underrated natural icons in the entire country. In my mind, it's up there with Uluru and the Kimberley, and people just, the people that have discovered it want to keep it their own little secret.
It's stunning, isn't it?
It really deserves global recognition. So we are now the managers of Wilpena Pound Resort, and I should mention that the owners of both of the properties that I manage is Indigenous Business Australia, along with local traditional owner investment. So we have a great and long-standing relationship with IBA, and we find working with them very, very rewarding. So recently acquired Wilpena Pound, and got great plans for it. It's a 60-room lodge with a big campground.
It's quite big, isn't it?
we're going to add and upgrade. We've got
Okay.
a couple of $1 million to spend on the place in the first 12 months. So we're looking forward to adding safari tents and doing up the restaurant and the bar, and adding hopefully a walking tour and a 4-day cycle tour. So we've got some big experiential plans for the place, as well as just freshening it up.
Yeah, and it's funny, I mean, I was about to use the word experiential because increasingly what I've been feeling, particularly at ACE this year, is people in the accommodation business. I know you've been involved in this aspect of it for a long time, but it's about the experience. It's experiential tourism. It's about not collecting destinations anymore. It's about having unique experiences. And it seems to me that what you're doing is very much in that space. And Anthology, I suppose, links into that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, look, in many ways the lodges and the accommodation are secondary to what we do, which is giving people an authentic experience in the setting that they're in a very, very special natural setting. And as it so happens, both of the lodges that we manage are in national parks, are in special landscapes that are just thriving with wildlife and things to do. The geology, for example, in the Flinders is world class.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? Well, look, where can people find out more information about Anthology?
Well, www.anthology.travel website, or the wildman.com.au or wilpena.com.au.
That's simple.
Yep, very simple. Yep.
Well, Grant, thanks for taking the time to speak with me this morning, and congratulations on the acquisition of Wilpena as well, and I'm sure it's going to be wonderful. And also congratulations on really sort of extracting that quintessential Australian experiential opportunity for tourists and travellers to visit.
Thanks, John. We'd like to do more.
Thank you.